I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed of it. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and an holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth.
Stone is the most prevalent feature in this impressive national park that is located in the state of Arizona. The park lies south of a reservation that accommodates Navajo Indians. This region owes its name to the park's main attraction, a rare and natural phenomenon that has transformed wood into stone. These long rocks are reminiscent of fallen trees. In fact, they are ancient formations of stone. But how could wood possibly be turned into stone? Long ago, this landscape was covered by a dense forest. Mighty rivers cut across the terrain. Water caused by heavy flooding forced dead trees to float to a low-lying swampland. In the deep quagmire of the swamp, and having in effect been hermetically sealed, the trees were subsequently covered by layers of sediment. Thus, their further decomposition was halted. Mud, sand, and volcanic ash settled above the trees that gradually absorbed minerals from the surrounding moisture. Thus, hundreds of fossil trunks developed that today are scattered across the prairie. Today, the petrified forests, formerly tall conifers, are the most common examples of this stone world of plants that dates back to prehistory. Illuminated by the sunlight, the petrified tree trunks and their glossy red appearance have always been the subject of fantasy and imagination. The largest examples of fossilized wood in the national park indicate that in prehistoric times, many of the trees grew to a height of 60 meters.
Good evening, everyone. Now, as you can see, in the right situation, wood can be turned into stone. And the narrative that you just listened to is how the giant tree stumps from the Bible were turned to stone. When God flooded the earth, it petrified those stumps, and they took in minerals and they turned into crystal, petrified, just like you've seen the trees do in the video that you just watched. So now that you understand how the stumps turned to stone, let's talk about where did the trees go that were cut down? Because those giant trees had to go somewhere, right?
But you see, for example, this piece, this little piece, that little piece, these pieces, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. We're on the top right now, so they used to be a part of one of these. And the flood came along, took these, and brought them laid it right there, like that. And look how high up this is. How deep were the floodwaters to cover these trees, or the remnants? So they had to have laid on the ground for quite some time in weather to be able to do this. And then the floodwaters came. So I gotta film part of this again, because sometimes you don't come across things as extraordinary as this, especially things that don't have the moss and stuff on them that hide the color. So I just want you to take a good look at this. Okay, this is a different spot, but look at this. I'm gonna walk around down here, and you know, some people would never get to see this in a lifetime. You see all the pieces and parts everywhere. All the pieces and parts. Let's look at this. Truly amazing. Wow. Alright, now we're going to go down, and we're going to go down there and look at the face of this. Okay? So hold on. Okay, so let me show you this. This section right here, that's just the center core. And this thing was hundreds, if not thousands of feet in diameter before it all broke apart. Now let me show you here. Okay. You look right here. You're going to see the rings as if you were looking at it down at a stump and seeing the rings. All this over here is gone. All this, who knows how thick it was, is gone. Just this small section remains. And you see the radius rings as if they would go around this like that. So much is gone, and these used to come all the way up and around. There used to be more on top that would go around. But that's a pretty good example. That's the inner core. And that's just part of a branch that goes back. That piece right there is about 5 stories tall. And that is just one of them little pieces. All these little pieces you see are just part of the tree, the fibers. You come up here, you see there, it's just how the tree breaks down. And you come over here, yeah, all these little pieces with the flat edge and the ledges. And this is a small one. This would be one of them gaps you can walk through. It's a small one. Some of them, the pieces are so large. Like, we're gonna walk this whole hill right here, all the way down, cut across, and cut up on there. But that hill over there is like one of these pieces. It's not a whole tree, it's just pieces that have broken down. And then you'll see that over time, this piece will break off and they keep breaking apart into pieces like fibers. Okay. So I actually found this stump right here just to give you a visual. But you got to remember, these are parts of the branches. So you see the rings, part of the radius here. All this was connected at one time. All this was massive. And then pieces broke off and dispersed. So you see right here, okay? So this is a stump and the rings go this way. Not always, but most of the time. So if you were to put that piece up there, the rings here are going in a semicircle. Same as that. This would be like one little piece of the rings here going around. And then all the rest of it's gone. It's just what happens. This thing here is so massive. I told you it's like the fibers. Well, that don't even look petrified right here. Looks like driftwood. Gee. Yeah, that does not even look petrified. Oh, how crazy is this? Hold on. Sorry about spinning around. Just trying to get a better angle for you. This is so massive. That's at least 60, 70 foot tall. And you come here, this is, you see under here, this is kind of like a knot right here. See that? And there's part of a ring laying right there. Let's go up there a little bit. You can see a lot of the characteristics of the wood, because it doesn't get a lot of water. How crazy is that? So that whole section right here broke off. Like this piece is getting ready to break off. But this was a knot. A massive part of a massive knot. And this is just one tiny piece, section of a one ring. Holy moly. And I'm showing you how like the fibers are. I'll put a picture in here of how wood is, the way it breaks down. Providing it's straight grain. If not, you get into all kinds of different things. Look at that tree ring. This is really incredible. You see here, these are like the fibers. You know, if you could see the vastness, the size of these, it is just beyond incredible. And then when you get exposed areas like this where you can actually see like the inside wood grain, it's pretty incredible. Look at this. And this is a massive piece, but it's small compared to the tree that it came from.
The trees floated into an area, a low bed area, and rested there, and did not decompose right. Still soaked in water and taking in minerals. They turned to stone. Well, all the mountain ridges that you've seen in your life that you think are mountains, those aren't mountains at all. That's why they're in straight line ridges, because those are the trees that floated off and settled wherever they settled at, like the Rocky Mountains. It's not really the Rocky Mountains, it's just some of the big trees that settled there. That's why you have mountains in certain places, not all over. You know, not all over, straight across the country all the way. It's just in certain spots of countries. And that's where those trees settled at. And what you think are mountains, those are the giant trees that were cut down by the Watchers, the Holy Ones, just before the flood. Just before the flood, they were cut down. And that's why they drifted off from the stumps that you see today. That's why you don't see the tree laying beside the stump, because they floated away and settled as the oceans receded. Everyone, thanks for watching. Have a good night and God bless.